you can get knocked down on your feet. If you let it happen, and you can choose to get up if you want, or you can choose to stay down. And like for me, it was always just keep grinding, and you eventually be rewarded. So
this is the Views with Voices podcast. This is a show where our views are now the voices to be heard, and our experiences are to be captivated with a level of sincerity. I'm your host, Dewan Thompson. Hey, welcome to the Views of Voices podcast. I'm your host, Dewan Thompson. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about life as a walk-on athlete. And on today's show, we have a special guest, a very close friend of mine, former Washington State running back, University of Montana running back, Alijah Lee. Welcome to the show.
Sir. Appreciate it.
There we go, man. Hey, before we get started, let's talk about what you sipping on, man. I'm gonna show you what I got right now.
Oh yeah, let's see what you got.
This barefoot wine peach.
Burberry.
Hey, you feel? Hey, straight out of Walmart. Hey, it's okay though.
That juice, boy. That
hey, man,
juice, boy.
I gotta feel good.
Right on.
Show me what you got. What you got for today?
So you know me, my alter ego of the past couple months. Juandísimo Papu. I can't even talk. Juandísimo Papi Chulo. Ay, I got that corona. That premier.
Yeah, man. I like it.
You know, little shot.
Let's go ahead and let's get a toast going.
All
you know
right.
what I'm saying? Hey, more life and more success.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Bing.
Here we go. All right, let's get it started, man. So just give the audience, you know what I'm saying, a little dive into who you are, your upbringing, and who raised you and helped shape you into the person you are today.
Right on. Man, where could I start? So I grew up in Venice as well as Culver City. My grandmother used to live in Culver City, the projects. Not too many people know, some people do, but primarily Venice. Always been an athletic kid. Not to brag or nothing, but that's just what I did with the people I grew up with. As you know, just playing sports a lot of my life. Growing up with a bunch of people my age, a ton of us, probably well over 15 of us, just all together. So that was more of my upbringing, and I didn't have a father in my life. My mom raised me by herself with a lot of help from my grandmother. Rest in peace, Lula. We love you and miss you.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess from childhood to college, I played football most of my life, so that was a lot. That took a lot of my lifetime, and shit, I'm thankful for it because I met a lot of people along the road, longtime friends from schools, friends from high school and whatnot. So that's the majority of my life is sports, football primarily, and video games along the way too.
Of course.
Yeah.
I definitely understand, definitely relate.
Right.
I basically grew up without a dad too. I mean, he was in my life, verbally and stuff like that. But he got sentenced to 25 years of life. So, at the end of the day, man, my mom raised me too, just like yours. So,
right.
We definitely got some common ground right there and relate to that. And so, first question is, man, we talked about football and life as a walk-on athlete, but what's the first thing that comes to your mind when we talk about football, like the word football? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Really from day one, I would say like physicality and like hitting. Like at every stage of football I played, it was a lot of hitting involved. From Pop Warner, you got I forgot. Well, I think it's called like just heads up, just something like heads up where you going up against the other player, they blow the whistle, you lay on your back flat, heads are facing each other.
Exactly.
It started with that. Getting banged around. I was doing a lot of banging too, so doing that. Through high school, just big hits, both offensively and defensively, and even college. I just remember at Montana, I think we were playing Portland State at home, and we had a back-to-back play. So I got the handoff. We went left with it. I forgot to play the name. So, I had a good run. We do a no huddle, and next thing you know, I go to the right side. They flip it. So the backer already keyed in, and so I'm running the ball. I'm ready to get on, and boom! I fumbled the ball. I ain't played the rest of that game. All things. So,
hey man,
you know, yeah. So that's all I could like football, man. Obviously, you can get into the depths of it, but I think contact and like physicality are like the main standouts.
No, yeah, most definitely, man. Like for me, when I think of football, man, I think of being competitive, right? So,
right.
Our whole life we was competitive, even from bitty basketball,
right,
and stuff like that. So, like, I feel like everything in life is a competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, a competition to be better than the person next to you, to be better the next day than what you are. So, that's basically football, man. Football relates to life so much. And man, that, definitely football has helped, me and you and shoot everybody else that played. Whether it's high school, little league, college, and even some of the boys we know that's in the NFL. Man, I'm sure football has taught them a lot of things that help them now.
Yeah.
And so so basically the next question I got is when and how did you get into football? Like, who introduced you to playing for the Venice Bulldogs, basically? So
that's a good question, but if I think like I probably couldn't get into the exact person or reason, but I know I think I played flag for at 6 years old. I think I played flag, and then I went on to play what was it like? Not Mighty Mites. I forgot what the small division was, but obviously I had guys older than me, so like Gabe Marks, Tiandre and all those guys. They were older, so watching them play football is just like, all right, when it's my time, I'm gonna go play.
Yeah, gotta play.
Yeah, so seeing them, I think, and then just like I mentioned earlier, just having a lot of people who I grew up with. It was just the thing to do. Oakwood Park, and then we even had practices at Penmar Park. But it was just like, all right, you can play football. Like, we pretty much had a full team of just our homies. So, and then like the OGs in the hood, they became the coaches. So it was just like an easy format to follow. It wasn't nothing. You didn't have to go travel too far or anything like that. It was just, all right, we here, we about to play. That's it.
Exactly, man. Like for me, right?
Yeah.
I think the first person that like introduced football to me and actually convinced my mom to let me play football was Jericho.
Oh man, yeah, Jericho.
Yeah, man, Jericho. Okay, at first, you know how moms are, man, overprotective. So, at first he asked my mom, she was like, "No, I don't want him to get into that," and blah blah blah. And so the crazy thing is, he went to her job and actually convinced her to like let me play football. So that was the first person that really introduced me to playing football. So I think I was about, I want to say like 6 or 7 years old.
Who did you play for?
Venice Bulldog. That was the first one.
Okay, that was your first.
And
then,
I was out number 55, baby.
Oh, we showed. I think I don't know who got a picture, but it sure is a picture with you in 55. I only remember you for the most part playing for who was the Chargers.
Yep,
like
the Chargers.
Right before high school. Yeah, you was like the Chargers.
Hey man, the Chargers. That was my man. Hey, that's from the quarterback days.
Yeah,
but yeah, that Jericho. I got to give him some credit, man, because he led the way. Damn near. And so as a kid, man, like, what made you love the game? Like, what made you really love football?
I would say. Well, let's see. I think I first started playing in like 03, 02, and so I don't really remember any players from that era who probably influenced me. But again, just knowing that football was a thing to do, like, we play baseball, we play basketball at Oakwood, but football, like when that time came and we went on to watch the high schoolers play, Venice High, it was just like, all right, it's my time to suit up with the Bulldogs. And for us, it was like, all right, let's go out and play hard. We play people all the way. I think it was like West Valley. I forgot what the name was, but just going to different places. Saturdays just being fun. I just knew that was something I wanted to do, and then especially Saturdays you get to hang out with your friends. So that was like, it was that being with your friends, hanging out with your friends, and more importantly, like just playing the game with your friends.
Exactly. So like for me, man, what made me love it, like you said, just being with your friends
Right.
and honestly just like playing football. And so, and I really fell in love with it. When I think it was my second year, and I was able to play running back. I think I was number 20. And then, you know, once you get that ball, man, you get that feeling like, man, I can do anything I want to do.
Right.
And so I think that's what made me really love the game, just having the ball in my hand. And so, you know, that really leveled up to high school and football. So I was always an offensive player. So that's what made me love the game. Scoring touchdowns and running, having that spotlight on you. So, you know, that was me. That's what I like. And so, you know, as a kid, right? Did you realize that you can play this game at a high level, or like did that come like later on in life, like high school or middle school?
You know, everybody's dream at that as kids was, all right, I want to go play in the NFL. Like NFL, you didn't think you want to be a doctor, you want to work at this company, do this or that. It was, I'm going to the NFL. So, you know, you always have big aspirations for that. And then obviously the further you get along into the game, you know, through high school, like just being under recruited, and then just being in college, like kind of like I don't know, a lot of people, they probably wouldn't relate to this or probably would question what I'm saying, but like you kind of realize, for me it was, I lost love for the game primarily because of a coaching change. So my what was it, my first year at Montana, so the head coach who offered me a scholarship, Bob Stitt, and Coach Justin Green, who I definitely appreciate, because that was one of the best decisions of my life to, you know, have that happen. But once the head coach got fired after one season, they brought in a new head coach, and you know, it started off rocky from, I believe, winter conditioning, and we get into that, and you know, I have a sickle cell trait, so I had a lot of issues with trying to condition, even though Washington State during midnight maneuvers, I couldn't condition up to like everyone else's level. Like there were times I needed a break, and you know, I always say I'm not about to pass out for a team. So I just, trainers understood the situation, but for some reason he didn't like that, and you know, you get called the softs and the p words and this that, and for me it didn't bother me, but you know, it is what it is because that's how some people are. But it started with that, and just that whole season is like up and down. They bring in a transfer fullback from San Diego State, who's a cool dude, Adam Eastwood. Shout out to him. And, you know, I was 1 through fall camp, and then we go through another issue. Our quarterback leaves, and I tweet, they messed up on this one. And then like his number 2 on Twitter. Should I have said it? Maybe not, but I didn't think it was the end of the world. So anyways, the coach didn't even notice until a couple weeks down the road. And then we're in the fall camp, and I'm running with the ones, you know, even through spring, running with the ones, sharing the reps with Adam. Our other guy, Jeremy, was hurt at the time. But so that happens, and then next thing you know, he speaks to me about it. He threatens to take my scholarship, and then like wanted me to apologize. So, you know, ultimately I had to apologize for 2 reasons, obviously, to keep playing and to finish out my degree. But so that's already a lot in itself, and that's preseason. That's before season actually starts. So anyways, down the road, the playing time is cut by half. Stats are cut by half. It was just frustrating. So like for me, I just knew I didn't want to go on. Everyone knows sports are political, especially football. I've always dealt with, you know, the height test and the eye test and all that stuff. And so I just lost it. Like, and I know how hard it is to go to the next level. And, you know, I don't regret not going or not even trying, because I was content with how far I got. And I don't know if that's the best way to say it, but I had my fun. I got to
of course,
one of my ultimate goals in life. So anyways, that's kind of where I knew like that was the end for me. And I was totally fine with it. I mean, I've played my years and I came out uninjured with serious injury. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah, see, man, that story right there that you told, you know, the coach, they view like mental weakness, and it's crazy, right? And so and I hate it. I definitely hate that. But like, you know, as a kid, you know, like you said, right? Like you think you can go to the NFL and stuff like that, and you know, play college football, and that definitely was the goal.
Right.
But I think I realized that, I was able to play at, a high level for, for high school. Let's say that.
Right.
When I actually went to Leimert Park Chargers, like you said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And so, playing quarterback for them and actually doing the thing that I was able to do at, 10, 11 years old. And so I think from that point on, I was like, okay, I think I'm able to, play quarterback or, play a different position, but definitely play quarterback at the high school level. And so, man, I would always have a football in my hands, always throwing and stuff like that.
Right.
So, definitely Leimert Park Chargers. I think they put that confidence in me that, I'm able to play at a high level. And at this point, the high level was high school football, playing quarterback.
Right.
And so, definitely that has really, helped me out. When I got to high school, I think I even realized that I was able to play at a high level when I was playing quarterback. And so I think around that time, Russell Wilson, I think he was like the shortest quarterback. But before him, it was Drew Brees. And so I was just like, okay, hey, Russell Wilson about 5'10". If he can do it, then I think I got it.
Right.
And so, during that 9th and 10th grade year, and I was just like, okay, let's rock with it. Let's see how it goes. And so, I think that time having Russell Wilson and Drew Brees to really look at, and I was like, okay, I think I can play this at a high level. Maybe not NFL, but definitely college. And so, but I ended up making a position change and stuff like that. So, which actually made me 10 times better because I actually really thought, after my junior year, I could really go play college football and, probably get to the NFL. Yeah. So, but yeah, during high school, right? We really didn't get that much looks when it came to, scholarships and stuff like that. So, after not receiving a scholarship, how did you feel? And, what was your next step? Was being a walk-on, the first option or was going the JUCO route? Like, okay, let's see what we can do.
So what's so crazy about that is like the whole dynamic of like junior college, and I knew somehow, some way I would get stuck there. And that was like, and I had the smarts to go on and get into school. Like I had got accepted into a couple of schools. So I'm like, okay. One school, a Christian school, Grand Canyon, small school, no football. They not offered me, but they offered to pay a lot of my tuition. So I'm like, all right, I'm about to go there. And then, and at this point, I was like, all right, I'm done with football. And then Humboldt State came around, and I got accepted into there. So then I was really like interested in going there. I had never been there. Didn't know much, but I knew they had a football team. And, it was a smaller school. I won't say FCS or D2, one of those. But yeah, so I contacted coach and like I'm sitting on my highlights, and like my highlights were cool. Like it wasn't like nothing bad. I wasn't the most speedy guy out there, but like, I thought like, all right, I'm sending it to Humboldt State. Maybe they'll let me walk on or get a preferred walk on. Excuse me. But yeah, so send it out to them. Then the coach was like, oh, you have to try out next school year. So yeah, so I would miss fall and had to try out spring. I'm like, man, Humboldt State. Nah, I'm not gonna do all that for Humboldt State. So, anyways, I get I forgot how it came in. I think it was an email or a piece of mail, but it was from Washington State, and this was just admissions to the school. And like, as a lot of people know, Tiandre was there, my cousin, and then Gabe, childhood friend. So when I seen that, I'm like, well, shit, I'm about to go there and just go to school. I'll know some people on the football team. Obviously, they have a football team that, it, at the time wasn't like the biggest, but, Pac-12 is Pac-12. So after that, it was, all right, well, or even before that, we could backtrack a little bit. Once I knew I didn't get a scholarship, I was sending out emails to almost every school. Like I would go, how do you find it? Athletic faculty. And, look for the emails of position coach, so every running back coach out there. I would look for the email, and then I would email them my highlight tapes from Huddle, and then even my YouTube one. They were kind of different, especially for senior year, but I'm talking about emailing all of them, emailing head coaches, other position coaches, and if I showed you now my email, it's just hundreds of thousands of emails. Like I'm talking about every day I'm sending something. So that was that process. And then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to Washington State. Maybe I could walk on there. So, that time comes around and I'm talking. I remember, I think Antonio Huffman, he was there, so I was trying to contact him, and they didn't have any more spots available. So,
but hold on, we're gonna get into that.
Okay.
Yeah, bet.
So yeah, that was that though. So yeah, we could move on, I guess, because I could say the rest for the next part.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see. Yeah, so like for me, right? Like after not receiving a scholarship,
right.
We get these things in the mail, right? And we just like, oh man, okay. I think I can get one. I think I got one from Colorado State. Like that conference. But yeah, like after not receiving a scholarship out of high school, man, I was kind of discouraged in a way, right? And so I was thinking, like, oh man, what's my next step? Like, should I really walk on, or should I go to SMC and play?
Mm-hmm.
And so for a cool minute, I was thinking like, okay, I should go to SMC. Coach Gaskell was the offensive coordinator
right.
at the time, and so I was just like, I think I can go to SMC and get a scholarship from there. And so what really changed my mind, right? I ended up talking to Washington State. The coaches ended up hitting me up about a walk-on, being a walk-on and stuff like that. And I was just like, okay. And so, me, man, I asked my mom for about everything, advice,
right.
So I was just like, what should I do? And the first thing that come to mind was, you gonna go to Washington State. And so, I was just like, okay, because like you said, like when you go to JUCO route, a lot of people, they feel stuck. That's for some people, right?
Yeah.
And so in her mind, she's like, I don't want you to feel stuck. I don't want you to be stuck and then not end up getting your degree, because she know a lot of people that stopped in their tracks.
Right.
And so basically from there, I was like, okay, let's go to Washington State and let's be a walk on, and hopefully after a year or two, I'm able to receive a scholarship. That's the whole goal as walk-ons, right? So basically, right there, I was like, let's do it, man. And so, we had Tiandre and Gabe, man, and that was huge, man, because it kind of made me feel at home.
Right.
And so when I went there for orientation, I was just like, okay, that's Gabe. I spent the night at Gabe's, for about a whole week. And so that made me feel, at home. So, being a walk-on over there, I was like, okay, I can do this, right? So it feels just like home. So, but yeah, like, so how did you end up deciding that Washington State was for you? Like you said, you had Humboldt State, and then you what was the other school that you had? Yeah, Grand Canyon. So what made you decide that, all right, Washington State was it?
Honestly, I couldn't even tell. Keandre and Gabe primarily, but I didn't know anything about the school other than Pac-12 football. But even then, it wasn't a big school. Obviously, you followed the SCs and mostly the South schools, Pac-12 South schools. I didn't really know much about Washington State other than it was a Pac-12 school, and it was in Washington. That's all I knew. I didn't know it was the rolling hills. I didn't know the population was primarily students. So even the orientation, I was primarily on like, what do they call it, the south side of the school. So I think we stayed in not Gannon's, because that's where I stayed freshman year, but even further south, like when you first come into the school, like it was somewhere over there in the corner. Wayne used to stay there, but
I remember what you talked about. I forgot the name.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the name, but
I don't know. It wasn't Gentry. I think that's my other school. But
so yeah, that's all I knew. I didn't know much about the town. So even after orientation, I'm just like, well, shit, this is a big school to me. I didn't think much. Obviously, that UCLA and all that, about it, but those aren't really college towns. It's just the city. But yeah. So even after orientation, I'm like, well, I met some cool people, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna be a part of this. And I don't know if I could say that it being Washington State gave me a better chance to walk on, but I felt like, all right, well, it is Washington State. They weren't the best at the time, so it gave me a little hope, I guess. But Yeah, that's all I had about the school. Nothing. I didn't know what major to study. None of that. It was just all right. I'm leaving. I'm not going to SMC. That was the ultimate thing. I'm not going to SMC.
Yeah.
Everybody was there. I remember going to some of their practices. Like before it was official practice, and you had 100 kids out there, all from high schools all across the greater LA area. So I'm like, I'm not doing that. So yeah, I was all right. Washington State it is. My mom supported the decision. She thought it was best I got out the city. You know, you don't want to get caught up in anything else in life out here at the time. So that was the main thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like man, like I said earlier, you know, Washington State, you know, I decided a little bit, but you know, at the end of the day, man, my mom really decided that, you know, I was going there. And so, you know, I had a plan though, you know, being on the football team.
Right.
And so, you know, that was really the decision for me, my mom, and you know, basically having Gabe and Tiandre there, man. Cause you know, Tiandre, you know, that's big cousin right there, basically. So, you know, having him and having Gabe right there, you know, that was real huge for me. And I think that was really the deciding factor as in like, okay, I'm going to Washington State.
Right.
You know, being out there for orientation, staying with Gabe. And so yeah, that, you know, I had a lot of fun that week. So,
man,
you know, definitely
that
exactly. Yeah. What they call it, the gauntlet.
Yeah, the gauntlet, boy.
Yeah, so
something else.
Man, what? So I think that, you know, that was the deciding factor that made me go to Washington State. You know, so, but you know, what route did you initially take in order to even be a walk-on? So.
Man. That's like
explain that.
That's something like if you don't know, you don't know. You know, a lot of people that you may know from college, you know, were usually scholarship or you know transfer scholarship, all that stuff. So I actually had to not even sit, like I just was not a part of football for the entire fall semester. So as season was going, I was just like I was at every game or home game as just a normal friend. So that was that, and for me, it was like, all right, I think I was about 175, maybe 170. And that was coming out of high school. So I'm like, all right, I have to get bigger. Like, I know to play in this Pac-12, you got to be strong, you got to be fast and whatnot. So the recipe for even before getting the walk-on tryout, so that's what I'm getting to. But before even getting to the tryout, it was, all right, go to school, you normal student. But after that, we hit in the gym. So, you know, I had a bunch of people in my hall. So we would go to the gym after classes, like sometimes later at night, a lot of times around, you know, right before dinner or after dinner. And that was like the grind, 4 or 5 days a week, going in there, lift weights. And I mean, a lot of people may not believe it, but the majority of the nights for the primary, or not even primary, but the majority of that semester, it was 500 push-ups a night. And I kid you not, it'd probably be a couple nights we took off, but it'd be nights we even come back from parties. So I remember like Eli was like one of the main ones, but I had Rand's in there, sometimes Wayne, you know, and those guys, and we were doing 500 push-ups. You know, so a lot of times they didn't care much about it, but like I know Eli, he always tried to stay right there with me. So you know, even after going out, sounds crazy, but knocking push-ups out. So like, I think I gained 10 pounds, upwards of like 10 to 15. And so I say I got to like 180, 185. And then we get to the tryout process. So that comes around in March, I believe. And this is right before spring ball. And it's sort of ran like a combine in the sense, like, all right, they want to get you out, they want to have you test on bench press. So they had the 225 bench and they had the 185 bench. So right there, you know, I got under the bench, and right before that, I was doing bench great. Like I'm knocking out 225, so you know, 2 plates on each side. I'm knocking those out. I get into the tryout, I do it about 16 times, and already I had an impression. I remember Huff was like, all those guys were in there, like, oh, like who is this kid? You know, so I did that, and then we go outside, we do a little agility and all that. So of course, I still have my skill from, you know, all the years I played and even through high school. But what kept me fresh was, what was it? Flag football. We had flag football that whole fall.
I remember that.
Yeah. So a lot of, man, we were deep, probably like 15 deep playing flag. I'm talking about, I'm killing the kids out there, like killing them. So that kept me fresh.
You didn't belong out there, man. You know you belong right there on the field.
Yeah. So yeah, once we did the all the drills, so then they forgot how they contacted us, but well, I think it was a list that was like outside the room, like football facility, and so I seen my name, then they give you the further steps, and initially it was only like 2 of us, and then I think a couple more dudes came along as they needed more space for spring ball. But yeah, that was my route. It was tryout. Like I was a walk-on tryout, and it's so crazy to think because I had a like relatively great high school career. You know,
you did.
Yeah,
city section, first
city
team.
section, first team, and like Western Division co-offensive player of the year. I think my junior year. So, you know, like the little accolades and you know all the touchdowns and all that. You know, you kind of think, all right, I'm gonna get something, but I ended up being a walk-on tryout, and for me, like that's like one thing I'll never forget. And like I told my girlfriend because you know every now and then I'm like, oh, football this, college football that, like talking about the past. But like it was funny because she was like, she's like, you always talk about that. It's over, like jokingly, but not knowing. So I had to like school her real quick. Like, hey, listen, that was a hard route, and I'll talk about that until I'm 65 years old. Like, I just take a lot of pride in that because a lot of people either don't try or give up. And like for me, it was I'm getting here, and you know, I'm not even gonna get further into it because maybe you got questions about it, but yeah, that was just like it was the ultimate test in life, and to me, I succeeded.
Yeah, of course, man. Like at the end of the day, that makes you like 10 times mentally stronger, right? And so I remember going into the office and talking to Huff, right?
Right.
And you was right there beside me. And then I don't know if it was Huff or Dennis, but I remember going to the office and actually talking to him. And then you was kind of waiting for like, what about me?
Yeah.
And so he was like, you're gonna have to try out.
Yeah.
And so I kind of felt that energy and felt that vibe, and I seen your face. I'm like, oh man, you know. So from that day forward, I would always make you feel like you belong there. Like I would always make sure you had tickets. You know what I'm saying? That was my number one thing. Like Alijah Lee, check. Just make sure he's able to go to the games and go to the games for free. So, you know, that was definitely it, man. And you know, I was happy as hell that you was able to be on the team and stuff like that. Like, you know, we had, you know, I think at the time, me, you, Gabe, and Tiandre, I think.
At one point, it was at one point.
And so, you know, that was huge, man. Venice was putting on right there. And so, you know, that was definitely, you know, a proud moment right there. So, but like with trying out, right, did you ever feel discouraged that you even had to, you know, go that route? Like, was there even a doubt in your mind that, like, man, like, what if I not make the team? What if I don't make the team? And, you know, stuff like that, like what I'm going to do. So you know, did you ever feel discouraged?
For me, it was like, all right, so we get into the tryouts and just seeing all the players that were there trying out, like, you know, a lot of normal college kids, you know, freshmen and even sophomores and juniors. Not to say like, oh, I thought I looked better than them, like physically. You know, some dudes who worked out, I seen them at the rec center, but I don't know. I just like, I felt like just my history and my background in football, like I knew I was kind of that guy, but I was never, you know, the 5-star, the 4 or 3-star, like 0 stars. But you know, I knew I had skills. So once I got out there, it's like, all right, this is just something I've been doing my whole life. So I don't think I was ever discouraged throughout that walk-on process. Like I mentioned earlier, the like it was like a grind for me. That whole fall I wasn't on the team. It was like, all right, I'm gonna get right. I want to get in the best shape I could get in, and you know, be prepared for the tryout. And like once I got to the tryout, and again, get on the bench press and kill it. Like there weren't too many dudes doing 225, and definitely weren't too many dudes pushing 16 reps.
16 times.
Yeah, so
that's tough right there.
Yeah, that's tough. But I mean, once that happened, I'm like, oh man, like you know, you can see the expressions on the coaches' faces. So I'm like, all right, let me just keep this up, and I'll be good.
Wait, was Coach Loco there or no? It was just her.
No, I think Loco was there.
Okay.
I believe Tyson. I don't remember his face at the time, but like I remember Loco being in there. It was a handful of coaches in there, believe it or not. But
that's cool. That's cool. And so how was that like mentally for you to wait on that call? Like, that you made the team? Like, how was that mentally?
Oh, I remember calling my mom again. She was like my biggest supporter throughout the whole process, and
Yep. Mm-hmm.
being away from her, obviously you get raised in a single parent household with your mom. You in a sense, a lot of people say it, but like mama's boy. Now I wasn't like,
Man, of course.
yeah. It is what it is. A lot of people can say different reasons for being a mama boy or how they acted, but it was like a good relationship, and like she was always there at every parent teacher conference and every supported everything I did. So she was the first person I called because I knew like she was so proud of my success, and she told me to stay strong. Like you could do it. I believe in you, and then I even had support from my grandmother and other family and friends. So it was like a big deal for me, and even the guys who I was staying in the freshman dorms with, they were super excited because as we got to know each other throughout that first semester, they knew I had a background, showed them my highlights, so they were just proud for me, and they felt like they were one of the guys who got walked on. So that was another great feeling about that whole thing.
Yep. And see, man, I'm already knowing, man, the Pulley group.
Yeah,
that's what we call ourselves, Pulley Nation. So
right,
I know they was really excited for you and stuff like that. So we're gonna get into the experience of being a walk-on, right? We're gonna talk about how that life really was.
Yeah.
And so what do you think are some of the things that walk-ons have to go through?
Oh man, it's just so much. I mean, even just beginning with like, all right, I believe the Grade W was called for like the lunch. Like, all right, they gave us free lunch, but we didn't have dinner. So like right there, you kind of like felt a part of the team.
I'm gonna interrupt you right there because we're gonna get to that one.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. All right, I already know where we're going with that. But yeah, so that was one of the reasons. And I'll explain a little later down this video. But yeah, that was one of the reasons you kind of felt like excluded. You had which is so funny, but like the red backpack. So like people love and girls love when you have the red backpack. So I didn't have a red backpack, and so I didn't really feel official. What else? Just getting more in depth about it. It's a grind. Like you go in there and you got to work 100 times harder than the scholarship kid, and you have to go out there and perform on scout team and do the special team reps and all the little dirty stuff. All the 5 stars and 4 stars and starters didn't want to do. So. It was just, everybody had a role in football, but you knew your role was to ball. And, if you didn't ball, because, you're going against, when you're on scout offense, you're going against number 1s and number 2s. So,
man,
it was, it was a grind every day. But, I mean, for me, it was like I embraced it. And, I was out there running dudes over. And for me, that was like the ultimate confidence booster. Starting linebacker, starting safeties, you name it. So, yeah, that's the grind, though. Just knowing you're a part of something, but not fully, and that gets into the scholarship. Like you're not on full scholarship, you are a walk-on. So everything you do, it's like almost in a sense a partial tie, but you belong, and you can make yourself belong. You just show the coaches you belong, and even if you didn't get a scholarship, like I didn't get a scholarship from that school, but in the long run, Coach Mastro and Coach Clay, I believe his name was. Damn, I can't remember his name, but offensive line coach. He ended up on Texas Tech after
Texas,
that. He helped me too. They knew some people at Montana, so when you grind, they notice it and they see it when they're watching their number 1, number 2 tapes. The head coach sees it, and so just embracing your role and really working hard.
Yeah, man, because being a walk-on, man, that's a even more tougher grind than being a scholarship player, because you don't get the benefit of the doubt,
right?
So you just on the team just to be a scout team player. That's what it feels like at the end of the day. And so we go through a lot of things, but that, to be honest, man, that scout team really made me who I was. Especially going into my sophomore year, and being on the scout team with I think it was about I want to say number 2 defense in the Pac-12. So being on that scout team, man, it was so much fun, man. We had Tyler, rest in peace, man, and James, and so you, and so that was so amazing. And so being on that scout team, it created an even bigger bond, from just going to meetings and just hanging around, even after practice. And then Friday. So a lot of walk-ons, man, we don't get the opportunity to travel. And so, that Friday workout,
right.
That Friday workout, whew, hey, man, the first time I did that, hey, Coach Loco introduced me to college football.
Yeah, boy, it's different.
Hey, that Friday workout is tough.
Yeah, that made you want to be like scout team player of the week, special teams player, or if you had to get on special team. Like, I ain't doing this for a long time.
Exactly, and that's what you end up. That's what you end up doing, man. You end up making your way.
Right.
End up being a letterman for Washington State.
Yeah.
And so you was a special teams player. So I was definitely proud of that one right there. And so as we said, walk-ons, the whole not the whole goal, but the thought is you're gonna be on a scout team to really help us out.
Yeah.
And so do you think it's harder for walk-ons to even get on the field?
Yes, because especially depending on your position. So let's say the time I was there, you had, let's say the first year, James wasn't there. So first year you had Gerard balling, you had Jamal balling, and then you had Keith balling. So you got three elite dudes. And for me, it was like, I wouldn't say like a four string, but like it was like those three dudes, and then that was it pretty much. So aside from being like, I played special teams, I was on kickoff return, punt return. Like, I knew going into games, that's all I was going into. And it was just embracing that. But, like, man, it's tough getting on the field at your position, especially, like, if you're not blowing people out. I think I got in my first year. I think I got in versus Arizona, if I may recall. And got a couple carries, and that was that. But, yeah, it was like no touches. Like, I didn't go prepared to touch the ball. Now it was times where, like, or let's say a player went down for whatever reason, injury or something, and it's like, all right, now I'm third string technically because I was traveling. So it was, if one went down out of the three, they'll go with the two backs primarily. But if they needed me, and I had to know the playbook and whatnot, just like the starters. But like, it was low-key like nerve-wracking because, like, damn, I'm about to get into a Pac-12 game to run the ball. Like, not even just to do kickoff or our kickoff return and punt returns to run. But I just always felt like I was prepared for whenever that opportunity was called. But, yeah, it didn't come often. The second season, I got a few more carries, but nothing crazy. But, yeah, it's tough, man. Making the field is tough.
Yeah. It's real tough, man, because, like, I never did even get on the field, and which was definitely discouraging. At that, my sophomore year, I was like mentally weak, like kind of getting weaker.
All right.
Because at that point, mentally strong. It was tough being mentally strong. So, my sophomore year, I was kind of mentally not there. But I did know that being like doing my time on a scout team and would eventually, let me be able to travel.
Right.
And so, that whole year, that was the goal, man, just being able to travel.
Right.
And, I did for a couple of games, and especially for Apple Cup, man, that was the goal, being able to travel for Apple Cup. So, I did that, being able to go to Seattle, and, man, that was the best
crazy
experience. Oh, my God.
Crazy.
That was the best experience I've ever had on the football field, really. Well, about the second best experience. I described it the next one after that. But yeah, that was definitely it.
All right.
So how do you feel, walk-ons are treated?
Ooh. Man, well, it's two.
Wait, hold on. Before you even answer, like when it comes to on the field as well as off the field, like how do you feel they're treated?
So I start with off the field. It depends. I mean, obviously, I only can speak for. Well, I can speak for two schools, but one school from actually being a walk-on, and then Montana from seeing how they treat them. But so at Washington State, it was more of. I mean, obviously, you got to earn respect, just like every other player. You do have to earn respect, even if you're a 5-star. So I don't think you really get treated differently as far like, all right, obviously, a coach. He's going to choose his players over his scholarship players and people they recruited over a walk-on. So every person may say something different. Now you may have a walk-on who hated his entire experience, and primarily because a coach was an a-hole, or the coach never let him do anything, and not even let him play scout. So, but for me personally, I think I really earned respect, like just running hard the way I did on scout team. So I mean, I think I got that from even actual players. So not actual players, but players who started, defensive players. They respected me for how I came out and practiced every day. But I guess it would vary. Like even on one team, 20 walk-ons will tell you 20 different stories because it all just depends. But and then you get to on the field. Well, for me, obviously, I was a shorter dude, so it's like I don't know. Maybe people thought they could run through me like on kickoff return or punt return, but like I made plays out there, and I remember having like one of my biggest plays for me was the Apple Cup, actually, the one you were talking about, and I was running back on kickoff return, and you got to run, flip your hips, and that was probably the hardest thing in football, honestly. Like running through a hole is running through a hole, running the route is running the route, but going back and you got to go and get in position and get your hips turned, and these dudes running full speed at you. It's like, damn, like it's it's hard, and I was on like the outside part of the front line, so that was tough in itself. But anyways, we had like a certain setup for kickoff return, and it was like almost like a blind side in a sense, but like the dude see me the way like it played out. He see me, but I knocked him completely off his feet, like hit him hard. So that was crazy. But yeah, the only time I was ever like really, really, really challenged was like physically was against Oregon, and I can't remember the kid's name, but he was coming down smacking. So yeah, that was I don't know, maybe just because he thought I was smaller, he could run through me, but it was one play he did. He gave me a nice hit. And then another time I got tested was on it was supposed to be regular kickoff, and they did an onside kick, but that had nothing to do with being a walk on. So I don't know, maybe players, other opponents think differently of a walk on, or sometimes they probably don't know and don't care, but.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I don't really think I have like a bad experience of being on walk on, like just being treated certain ways.
Yeah. So like for me, right, I'm a separated like you did, right, on and off the field. So on the field, when it comes to coaches, strength coaches, position coaches,
right.
And I think they really don't expect you to really, be on the field,
right?
Like I said earlier in the in the episode. Like not the whole goal, but you're there to be on scout team, or at best just be at best just be a special teams player. You know what I'm saying? So on the field, man, I think at the end of the day, you have to really, I'm talking about really impress them,
right,
and outplay the person ahead of you to even be a second string or a third string, or just being able to travel, right? And it's going to be extremely hard for you to even be a first string. And so I mean it happens, right? We got players in the NFL that's walk on, most notably JJ Watt, when he went to Wisconsin. But it is extremely hard on the field as walk-ons to be able to play, but not only play, start like that is harder for walk-ons to even be a starter in one of those big time conferences. So like Hunter Renfrow, Clemson, I'm sure he worked his ass off to even be a starter at Clemson. So it's definitely possible, right? But it's such a small percentage. And so like on the field, man, I think walk-ons are treated a lot differently from scholarship players. But at the end of the day, man, if you keep your head forward,
right,
and, your head down, and just keep working, I mean, I think you can eventually be on the field, and then eventually be able to start like Hunter Renfrow or JJ Watt.
Yeah.
And so I think on the field, man, it's hard, but it's definitely not impossible. And like and off the field, Man, hey, off the field, I think it's terrible, right? Because at the end of the day, we don't have the benefits as scholarship
right.
athletes. And so, for example, dinner, right? And so, we go through the same grind just as scholarship athletes do, during practice, even before practice, going to school, even before going to school, doing your workout at 6 a.m., 5:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And so, we do the same thing as scholarship players, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't get the same benefits as they do when it comes to off the field.
Right.
And what I mean by that, man, is like I said earlier, being able to have dinner after,
Man,
2-3 hour practice, right? And so as walk-ons, we can't have that dinner, right? We can't have that steak, can't have those baked potatoes,
crab legs,
crab leg, exactly, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't have that. And so, I think off the field it definitely needs to be improved. I'm not sure if it's like that at Alabama or Clemson, schools like that, but from our experiences in the Pac-12 at Washington State, I think that should definitely be improved. And walk-ons should be able to have that luxury of, after practice, being able to go get you something to eat. You know what I'm saying? Just like steak,
a relatively healthy meal.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Instead of going to, the cafe and get you a burger and some fries, at the end of the day, we at a disadvantage like that. So, I think that can definitely be worked on right there. So, and like you said earlier, crab legs, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if you remember. I'm sure you remember.
Yeah. I'll never forget that.
Hey,
boy.
That was
a
to sneak
crazy
in.
time. Yeah.
We had to sneak in and get some crab legs. You know what I'm saying? And so, we had to do that, numerous of times.
Right.
And so, we would even have, some of the players that that are able to get that food.
Right.
We'll have them have a to-go box. And, put food in the to-go box for us so we can take home. I've done that so many times.
I mean, you got to finesse the system, man. That's
man, you
it.
had to.
It was finessing the system.
Yeah, like you said, we got to finesse the system. But what's crazy, right? I think in my opinion, I think they caught on, and at some point, to-go boxes they just stopped doing it.
Yeah,
like there was no to-go boxes. So I don't know if that was because they found out other players was giving food to walk-ons or people that not able to get it. But they I definitely think it was unfair for them to really do that. And hopefully now walk-ons over there at Washington State is able to get dinner too as well. But at the end of the day, they did provide lunch. Which I definitely used for dinner. And so I am grateful for that. But we should be able to get dinner because we do the same thing that they do. We practice, we work out. And so, I definitely think they should go ahead and, give that to walk-ons as well.
Yeah, for
sure. So, and why do you think that, they can't or they won't provide walk-ons with dinner? Like, why can't we have that luxury? Like, what do you think?
I probably couldn't even give you a good answer because as we know, like from the time we went in there, they get a lot of food. Like it's a ton of food. Now they do have to feed all the scholarship athletes throughout the school. Every sport that has a scholarship athlete gets to eat. So give or take however many student athletes there were, they still have a lot of food. We go in there, it's hundreds of steaks and a variety of different entrees and sides. And I couldn't tell you. Like I would hope it didn't come from like some selfish nature. Like they don't deserve it because like you mentioned we were there doing everything they did. But maybe it was in like the financial plan, and I guess you can't knock that because that's already something that's. It's no like they don't purposely exclude you. It's just they buy this amount of food for probably a rough estimate of scholarship athletes. So that's probably like the best answer I could think of.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. Like financially, it's they're not able to.
Right.
But I still think they are able to because I know there's a lot of food that's being wasted and thrown in the trash at the end of dinner, right? And so, you know, I think they're able to do that, man. It's $1 million business. So I definitely do think they're able to provide walk-ons with that. And so, man, you know, I don't know if you remember, right? For getting in trouble for sneaking in lunch. I mean, not lunch. Getting in trouble.
We got banned or something for like
Yep. We got banned for sneaking in dinner. We got banned from lunch. Yeah. So and you know that I think that for me that was like my last straw, right? And so you know, but you know, for us being banned, you know, how is that right in any way? Like, do you think that was fair for them to do that?
I mean, if anything, you start off with like, all right, you know, you snuck into, because that's what it was. We snuck in and got some crab legs. Like, shit, we hungry. I mean,
exactly.
And you get a dinner like that, you know, in college, we weren't cooking crab legs, and it wasn't no place out there cooking crab legs. So, anyways, I think like there's other ways to punish, and like we didn't do anything bad, illegal. We took a few crab legs, and they could have gave us like something where, all right, you can't eat lunch for a couple weeks or a week, or you go do this, you go roll on the field or whatever it may have been. Just something quick. Like we worked hard. We were equally deserving of that food. If you think about it, through all the stuff we did, lifting weights, going to practices, preparing, and all that stuff. So it just seemed kind of harsh. And I don't know anyone else, like even at Montana, who are like player that was punished for doing something of that nature. So, I mean, it was crazy. Maybe it was just like, oh, these dudes, like, how much money did y'all lose from us eating a couple crab legs? Like, it's not the end of the world.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
Exactly.
But to them, it seemed like the biggest deal. And I mean, you know, we still ate lunch though, and we still had dinner every now and then. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
and so like I was saying, right? Like at that point, right? You know, not being able to have dinner, having my lunch privileges taken away, and so, you know, I was like a year in my second year, and you know, I was mentally checked out, right? So, you know, for me, I ended up deciding to transfer out, and you know, and it eventually paid off with a scholarship, and so, but it took like the last month for me. It took like the last month of summer to even get that scholarship. Yeah. And so, you know, the person who really helped me to obtain that scholarship was Coach Gaskell, right? So, you know, I was really happy, for me that Coach Gaskell was there, you know, at that point in my life. So, you know, I was really happy for that. And so, you know, when did you decide to end up leaving Washington State?
Man, again, it was like, all right. At that time, it was still Gerard. It was Jamal. Those were like the 1-2, like 1A, 1B, wherever you want to call them. And then you had Keith that first year, and then that second year, James came. You know, James was a big recruit for the school, and you know, he was a baller. And for me, it was like, man, I'm not finna play. Like, you know, even though I did special teams that season as well, it's like I'm not finna sit here and do this all the time. I don't want to do scout. That was one of the biggest things. I was so tired of doing scout team, running hard, banging heads, and just seeing like I mentioned earlier, like I'm running these dudes over, and these are star Pac-12 players. So, it was like, all right, I can play somewhere else. If I can't play at the D1 AA or D1A, conference or FBS, whatever people are familiar with, I can go drop down a level. And I didn't even know. I wish I would have known much about that level FCS football during high school. But
man, for real, honestly.
Yeah, going back to it, it was just like, man, I'm fed up. Like, I had one little touchdown at Washington State, and that just wasn't enough. Like, for me, it's like I could play somewhere. And I didn't think it would be Montana. I didn't know where it would be, but I knew I'd be able to play. So right after that, it was just like the same process as high school. Like as I ended high school, just sending out tapes. Yeah, that's all. I was doing that to every school again. It was Twitter, emails, whatever whatever you think of. I was working and sending just scout tape. That's all in high school tape. But yeah, I was done, man. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not about to play. They don't want to offer me a scholarship. That was another thing. They didn't want to offer a scholarship, and at the time they were doing. I remember JT had got one, and it was like one player per year, and like in a sense, it was you had to be there. If you was there for this amount of time, you were next up. So it was players ahead of me, but yeah, I wasn't sitting there. I couldn't have done a third season. Like wasted 3 years doing that. No. So
yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. And so at that point, like you realize you had the ability to receive a scholarship, right? And so, and you know, for me, I thought the same thing. And so I was just like, man, I'm not about to be here for another year. I can't put that burden on my mom to take another Parent Plus loan to even get that $30 some $1,000 loan for her. Yeah. And so I was like, man, I know I'm able, to receive a scholarship from a different school. I got the ability to do that. And so, I took a chance on myself. At the end of the day, it ended up paying off, but it was stressful. Oh yeah. Especially for me, like I said earlier, I was in the fold, not even in the fold. My bad. I wasn't even in the fold. Yeah. Into knowing like, okay, what's my next step? And so it took until about the beginning of July to even receive that scholarship. And then once I received it, I think I had about 2-3 weeks to even pack up my bags and go, go straight to Texas. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? So that was, that was tough, but it was definitely a blessing. Oh, yeah. At the end of the day, I got the scholarship. I ended up getting my bachelor's degree with that, my master's degree with that as well. So, that was really the whole goal at that point, in my life was, to play football for as long as I can, but, to get my degrees. Yeah. And so, I'm really, blessed for that. And so I know for you, man, at that point you was feeling the same way.
Oh yeah, I was over it, boy. Like I mean, I couldn't do it anymore. Like I remember at the time, so my old roommate, once you left, Killian, he was done with the team, and Matt. Oh, that was damn. I wish I could remember the exact reason, but so Madigan, he was another running back, scout team player, walk-on, and I think it was spring. It was something in spring that really just geared us away. I can't remember what it was, if it was a practice or whatnot, but him and I talked and we were like, man, we are over it. Like, just done. Like, I don't want to do this no more. And, even before I knew I was like, even trying to go talk to other schools, like, I'm not doing it. I was ready to quit after that.
Yep. Yeah, you be done, man. That grind with no reward, man. That's tough right there. Joke. So like, how long did it take, Montana to give you a look? Yeah. And then not only give you a look, but to receive that scholarship, like take us into, that process.
Man, so it was crazy. At the time, I think I wasn't at Campus Commons, but what happened? So it was Twitter, and it was Coach Green. I think Coach Clay knew Coach Green or somebody on that coaching staff, but Coach Green, Justin Green, that is, he DM'd me on Twitter, and I didn't know much about Montana except one of our childhood friends and grew up in Venice, Kareem Jamar. Yeah, yep. He played for Montana basketball, so that's all I knew. I didn't know. And didn't even think they had a good football team, but so Coach Green messaged me, and like from that point, it was like everything was quick. It was a Twitter DM, and it was, we like you, we like your the little scout team tape I put together on YouTube, which is still up.
Me too.
Yeah, so they seen that. I had some really good plays, like obviously not game footage, but from scrimmages and scout, I had some good plays, so they liked it. And so Coach Green messaged me. We went back and forth really briefly, and then that's when Coach Stitt, so Bob Stitt, who was the head coach at the time, he called me, and so I answered the phone. I'm kind of starstruck just because, man, I'm in the works of a scholarship, and it was like, man, he's like, we want to get you in. We want you to come see the school. Like from that point, it was you coming in, we want you pretty much to come take a visit. And I've never been on a visit, so at that point it was exciting. And I went there, and like it wasn't far from Pullman, so obviously I had a lot of people in Pullman at the time still, and it was kind of like a no brainer for me.
After you had your fun, right? Did the offer come after that, or did it come before you actually went bar hopping and stuff like that? Like when did that I want you to be on this team, you're gonna have a full ride. When did that come into place?
So what's so funny is, so at the night after bar hopping, they had scheduled something super early, and I didn't think going into it I'd probably be that hungover. And I was staying at this hotel out there, and man, I was like, it was just like a bad hangover, and they had us wake up early. I think it was, I don't know if I probably was by myself, if I can remember. And so anyway, I remember Colin Bonnickson. He came pick me up, and I'm like, and I told him too. I said, honestly, man, I want to play here. And he kind of mentioned, like, he hinted at, and Coach Green hinted before that Coach Stitt wanted to offer me a scholarship. And I'm like, I'm so like, I don't want to do nothing. You don't got to show me nothing else. We had went to Chipotle, and after that, I'm like, I'm cool. Well, you don't got to show me nothing. And then when it became like kind of official was when I was just leaving, and I can't remember if it was Bonnickson or Coach Green who dropped me off at the airport, but that's when Coach Stitt gave me a call, and then we talked about the visit, and he said, like, if you want to be a Grizz, and then he went on to offer me a scholarship. So from there, it was all uphill. And right after, like, I wasn't even in LA at the time. I was in Pullman for the summer, and so I was right back in Pullman, not too far from Montana. So it was just like, all right, I got the scholarship. Summer's coming up, and next you got fall. So it was just getting prepared, and I finished a semester at Washington State, and after that it was just summer, and then boom, I'm right into Missoula.
Yes. So when you end up like actually getting that scholarship offer, like how was that feeling? Like, did you ever feel like, man, this weight is lifted off my shoulders? Like, how was that feeling?
It was crazy, man. Because, well, first of all, at the time I didn't think I would play. Off the rip, they had a running back there, Jeremy Calhoun, and they had some other guys who were there. And so you go into it, and you're just like, all right, I'm just excited to have a scholarship. Like, football aside, obviously you got to work and grind still, but I was just more excited to continue to do what I love, but for free. Like, not for free, but like get my education paid.
Yeah, of course. And so basically, for me, right, that feeling, man, it was amazing because throughout Washington State, I had to really rely on my mom, right? So my mom, she took out the student loans. She paid a little bit of my rent, once financial aid went off. And so, I really relied on her. So getting that scholarship, it really wasn't for me. It was for her, right?
Yeah,
and so, and so, having that weight off my shoulders, right? Like, be like, Mama, you don't have to rely on, I don't have to rely on you. And so, that I bet that was really huge for her, not having to, be able to give me money. My scholarship was able to give me money, so, basically, that scholarship was basically for her, right? And, of course it was for me, but, at the end of the day, no more money out of her pocket. So I was really happy for that, happy for her and happy for myself, for that reason. So, to wrap it up, right? We're gonna do it off this. Do you think that journey was worth it? And how has it prepared you, for life today? Like right now, how has that journey prepared you for life?
Man, that's a great question. It's like a question you can go really into depth with, especially the two-part about it. So, like, how's it help you now? And, I guess I could start like, I would do, if I could do it 100 times over, I would do it the same way. Like, everything that went into it just made me, like, let's say, I was there for 2 years on special teams and scout team. Like, maybe that made me a better player. Maybe it prepared me more to play in Montana than if I would have left after a year, or even just, did some other route. So the whole experience, just like meeting the players we met there and playing in the bowl games, and just being a part of all that, like, it's just something that, again, I could do 100 times over. And like, just to take it to like how it affects me in life today. It's like, everything in life we know is not handed to you, and it's not easy. Like, you have to go out there and grind every day. So just that part of it, like, man, you can get knocked down on your feet, if you let it happen, and you can choose to get up if you want, or you can choose to stay down. And like, for me, it was always just keep grinding, and you eventually be rewarded. So even to today's life, or how I use it now is, just keep persevering, and shit get hard, and always the best at something, and you may be doing something new for the first time. Like, so for me, it's like I got this YouTube channel, and like, I just had a rough day the other day trying to upload this video, and it should have been out, and I couldn't understand why I didn't show my whole clip. But like, I was frustrated, and I was up all night trying to do it before I had work, and I just told myself, like, man, this shit gonna be hard. It won't be easy, but just keep going at it. Like, every day you got to keep going at whatever you may be doing in life. Like, everybody deals with their own struggles, but like, the walk on life for us is like, and for everyone else who's walked on, you understand it. Like, you going into it understanding what the grind is. So I understand what my grind is in life and what my purpose is. And that experience has just, it shaped me to be who I am. Like, I've always been like, I felt like I've been an underdog, like, especially in high school, in Exeter High School. But like, yeah, just the walk on life, man, the grind, you grind harder. Just like, anybody, anything in life, when you're not favored to do something, you just grind harder at it.
Yep, exactly, man. I definitely feel you on that one. I like that answer right there. So before we get out of here, man, I want you to, I know you got a YouTube channel. You over there really grinding over there. So let's give out a shameless plug for you. So basically, shout out yourself, put your YouTube channel, your Instagram, man, say all that.
Yeah, all that. So I don't got the Instagram. I got the Twitter though, so I could pull that up. And so pretty much my channel it's called On the Sticks Lee, and it's all together. So all on the sticks all together, and then Lee. Okay. And pretty much it'll be like featuring gameplay of Madden 22 and Call of Duty. Now, those are the two games that are out, the two newer games. Maybe I'll get to the 2Ks of the world, the FIFAs and all that stuff. Sir. But yeah, for now, it's Madden and Call of Duty, and pretty much it's just playing, man. Like, I play video games a lot, and I watch a lot of streamers, Nick Merckx, Tim the Tab Man, Swag, and those guys. So obviously it takes hard work to get to that level, but for me, it's like, man, if I could play 4 or 5 hours a day, I might as well go this route. Like, do something you love in life. So anyways, yeah, you guys, if you got Twitter, you can follow me at On the Sticks Lee, and that's all together. So capital for every first letter, On the Sticks Lee. And then for YouTube, it's the same thing, On the Sticks Lee. If you look it up, you should be able to find videos. Yeah, so just go out there, subscribe to the channel, man. Watch the videos, drop a comment if you like the videos. You comment whatever you like. And share with your friends, man. Just help grow the channel. That's what it'd be, man. People, I was thinking about, like, even myself, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and, I'll sit there watching a 20-minute video, and I'm supporting these strangers. And like, for me, it's like, I'm trying to reach these videos out to friends, and people may not watch or play Call of Duty or Madden, but, even if you just let it run on your screen for 5 minutes, man, or whatever it is, but, subscribing as well. It helps me out in my long run. So, I'd appreciate it if you guys just do that for me, and, just tap in, man. We'll have some good content for you.
Man, and there we go, man. That's a shameless plug right there.
Yes, sir.
And, man, that's how you wrap it up right there, man. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Views with Voices podcast. And I'm your host, DeJuan Thompson. See y'all later.
All right.